The following Cutter Degrassi video may contain talking points about suicide, death, shootings, rape, gang violence, drug use, and many other things that are deemed to be inappropriate in society today. Please note that these Degrassi storylines were basically not based on real events, but due to the writers. So viewer discretion is strongly advised. This video is 14 plus. Hey there, hi there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another part of the Degrassi Storylines Countdown presented by Reddit. So I've done 3 videos. This is the 4th, which is from numbers 20 to 11. And basically I will give you the storylines that did not make the top 10, but missed the top 10. The first 2, numbers 20 and 19, were actually ones that were the best second tier playlist storylines. That means that the storylines from number 20 and 19 are the ones who just missed out on winning the season's best ones. And then I go with the lower end of which seasons won. Because remember, from seasons 1 to 18, they get the top 18 spots. Because I'm just trying to be fair and all that. So anyway, hopefully yours makes the top 10. Your favorites make the top 10, but you know what happens. Anyway, just a reminder that numbers 12 and 11 in this video actually were part of a poll. I did a poll to see which one of the 6 winners, the top 6 in the A tier, got in, could be the number 1 spot, and then the B tier, the top from the B tier, from 7 to 12. So you'll see a couple of them that were in the final voting for the B tier, but didn't make the top 10. So hopefully you enjoy this. All right, so starting off the top 20 is number 20. That is the Marco coming out of the closet storyline from season 3. Yeah, I was kind of shocked it didn't win. But, you know, in a season of great storylines in season 3, it was bound to lose. So the runner-up in season 3 was Marco coming out of the closet. And it was huge because Marco, in the first time we see him in season 2, was with Ellie. And, you know, Ellie was helping Marco out because Marco came out that he's gay, but he wants to date Ellie so that, you know, people will not hurt him. So Marco can't keep the charade going. Ellie stops helping Marco out. So Marco is upset that Spinner set up with Hazel and then says that my mom's pasta sauce. And Spinner doesn't understand. What don't you get? It's you're ditching a girl for your mom's pasta sauce? It doesn't make sense. It does make sense. Why? Because I'm gay. And Spinner flies off the handle. Spinner writes on the bathroom wall, Marco is a F blank G. And, you know, it was weird that they got away with writing that. So basically, yeah, Spinner spreads the rumors about Marco being gay, and he just doesn't understand it. And Spinner thinks that Marco's going to go after him and all that. Of course, Marco meets Paige's brother Dylan, who's also gay and he plays hockey, and Marco's drawn to Dylan. Marco gets a lot of sympathy for coming out of the closet, except for Spinner. However, Spinner realizes his big mistake, especially after not really caring after Marco got jumped from behind before a hockey game. And Julie and everyone else turned on Spinner, saying that, you know, you're just abusing people and all that. Spinner got put in his face, and Spinner is told that, you know, you should date. Why would you date girls? Yeah, they're hot, but you're not hot. Okay, let's agree to disagree. But with time, within season 3, Spinner becomes more accepting of Marco. He does worry about Marco trying to put his hands around, putting his hands around Spinner because Spinner was choking on something and thought Marco was coming onto him. But Spinner, with insight, actually helps Marco out with Dylan, and he actually was playing with toy soldiers and then stopped to help Marco with his date with Dylan. So yeah, Marco coming out of the closet was great. I mean, his parents didn't really find out. Well, his mom found out in season 4, his dad found out in season 5. But surprisingly, Marco's dad wasn't really that gay bashing of him. I know he came from Italy, and being gay in Italy is not good, but basically he says to be yourself and all. And now number 19, and that's Craig. Craig's descended to being bipolar in season 4. Season 4, of course, is known for one major storyline, and I won't get to that because it's in the top 10. But anyhow, Craig seemed to have behavior issues and all that since season 2 when he started. But season 4, things intensified. His relationship with Ashley was about to intensify. Joey was asking Craig to spend his inheritance money that he got from his dad on Joey's house to make sure it doesn't get to keep the house. Craig decides to give Joey some money, but then he keeps the rest. And Joey feels bad about asking Craig for money and all that because he couldn't provide. Anyway, Craig was a big player in the Rick Murray situation for the fact that Craig was sick and couldn't go to school. And then that's when he bumps into Sydney, who was Joey's girlfriend and is a realtor and wants Sydney to help sell Joey's house. Joey gets angry at Craig for going down his back towards Sydney. And Craig decides to go to school the day of Rock Your Brain despite being sick and says that I'd rather be at school sick than to be at home with you, Joey. Well, Joey did say, I better not see Tessa Campanelli anywhere near me. But after talking to Sydney and with Caitlin trying to buy the house for Joey and all that, Joey realizes that Craig was right the whole time and he feels bad, especially when Craig ends up seeing Jimmy's sprawled out body about the shooting. When the shooting happened. So basically, that wasn't good. And Craig was just upset and all that. Why shouldn't he be upset? I mean, his friend was passed out on the floor and could have died. Craig kind of goes off the rails when he and Ashley see Ashley's dad get married. And, Craig wants to be with Ashley so much that, he buys a ring for her, thinking that she's the light of his life. But unfortunately, Ashley doesn't see it that way, even though Craig announces it at the wedding. Ashley has to tell everyone that Craig is just being awkward. Craig tries to explain to Ashley everything, but he can't. And then Craig comes home to Joey after Joey realized that Craig stole his credit card for a hotel room, which he later trashed, and beat up on Joey. Thankfully, everyone was there to stop Craig from being an idiot. And then Craig was diagnosed with being bipolar and all that. It also helped that Snake kind of saw the signs of Craig because he knew that Craig's dad was a dick and all that. And Craig's dad is in the top 10. I can assure you that. So anyway, yeah, it was hard pressed and all that. So yeah, and then Craig near the end of the season gets mad when Ashley wants to go to England with her dad and is off his medication and he lives in the boiler room for a while. So Craig never got past it. It was groundbreaking to see Craig go through the signs of a mental condition, but things happen. All right, so at number 18 in the season 9 winner of the storylines was Allie's attack on Holly J. Now, Allie was upset that Holly J would make stunning comments about Allie and trying to ruin her relationship with Johnny DeMarco. So Allie decides to put Holly J in her place by doing some social media stuff that makes Holly J whimper and all that. Allie is caught by the police. The police basically tell her that she needs to apologize and she's on probation. Allie's like, I'm not going to apologize to Holly J. She's trying to ruin me. But her dad says, well, you got to apologize. So Allie apologizes to Holly J. Holly actually admits that she didn't call the cops. It was her parents who called the cops. And Holly J was upset in bed. And Allie says, you've won. You've got everyone's sympathy. And Holly J asks Anya to kick Holly out. A lot of people actually do say that this whole thing about being ashamed on social media actually turned Holly's character around. But I think in season 10, when Anya turns on Holly J and helps Sav out, that's when Holly J realizes she needs to be a better friend. And also her getting kidney problems in season 11 was also big as well. And of course, that story ended that she actually was adopted, and her birth mother refuses to give her a kidney even though they're a perfect match. They wants $2,000 even though it's illegal. But the only reason is because the mother has 2 kids at home and she can't provide for them for like 6 to 7 months. So in the end, Holly J says that it's not about the money; it's just the bribery. So Holly J finds a way that Fiona buys the mother's dress for $2,000 and gives it to Holly, who gives it to the mother, and then Holly J says she has a kidney. Although Holly J kind of was a bit of a dick in that sense, but she was okay. At number 17 on the list was the season 18 winner, and that is Zoe struggles with her sexuality. I'm actually shocked that that won. I would have went with the finale. Kind of like season 9, I would have went with Spemma. But the fact of the matter is that Zoe, by season 18, wasn't sure about her sexuality. She had some nice guys. She actually was attracted to Grace, but Grace was straight. And Zoe realized she has to be who she is, so she decides to come out of the closet. Her mom doesn't believe her at first, thinking that's just some kind of phase. But the worst part for Zoe's mom was that Zoe was not getting roles because people were being homophobic. And of course, Zoe's mom realizes that with Zoe saying this stuff, it's ruining her career. So it's for Zoe's mom, it's basically find a job or find another sugar daddy. And unfortunately, Zoe's mom took the second option. And the worst part for Zoe's mom is that she decides to kick Zoe out for being gay. Now, Zoe in a bit kind of did deserve it because she was parading Rasha around at Zoe's mom's wedding. I think Zoe was just trying so much for her mother to believe her. Unfortunately, Zoe's mom has the conniption fit of a Catholic because Catholics are really homosexual if you think about it. But the fact of the matter is, it's not really about the religion. That's why Zoe's mom kicked her out. Zoe's mom basically kicked Zoe out because without any roles for Zoe, without any work, Zoe's mom can't rely on Zoe to give her money. So basically, as I said, she had to get a job or a new sugar daddy. And sadly, though, she took the second option. Zoe's mom didn't come to the graduation, like I said, when I talked about the season 18 finale. And Zoe actually says, fine, be that way. I've got a family, my fellow graduates. All right, so at number 16 is another surprise. The season 14 winner was Claire's pregnancy from season 14. I thought Degrassi News was going to win the whole thing, but no, I guess not. So anyway, the Degrassi News debacle should have been there. But anyway, Claire's pregnancy. Now, Claire had cancer, I believe season 12. And unfortunately, it turned her into having chemo brain. And then, she gets she gets a lot of stuff thrown at her, if you will. Season 14, she ends up getting pregnant. And she thinks Drew is it. Unfortunately, that kind of ruins Drew and Becky's relationship, especially with Becky's grandmother coming by and shaming Becky for being with Drew, who's actually going to have to care for another baby. However, it was revealed that Claire was more along than she thought with Drew. So Claire ended up getting pregnant by Eli. And they decided to raise the kid. And Claire was going to name it Adam in tribute to Drew's brother. But of course, it's now going to be Claire and Eli's. Claire gets through a few weird nightmares, including having the fact that she was with Mr. Simpson and had 2 kids of her own. It was like, what the fuck? But anyway, Claire tells her mom she has to go to university because she has to tell her child she tried, even though that she's going to have a kid before going to college. So anyway, unfortunately, Claire miscarries the baby, and then she and Eli go across the border and talk about things. And then that's when Pill talks to Claire about her miscarriage. Claire is upset and smashes those cameras. So you got to feel for Claire is that they basically threw a lot at her. She was, I think, trying to see if Claire could reach the milestone of having a good time. All right, so the next one is number 15 is ironically season 15. And this is not the only time that the number on the list is the same as the season on the thing. I believe that's the only time. Well, there's only one more time that it's happened. And it is in this video. So anyway, season 15's number one thing was Hunter's mental breakdown and all that. Now, Hunter was a decent person, but he was kind of introverted, and people stayed away from him. A couple of seasons later, Hunter would actually go with Yale, but Yale wanted to be non-binary, and Hunter was shocked that Yale didn't give him a straight answer, rather be a boy or a girl. And Hunter unfortunately gets laughed at by his friends, saying if Yale's non-binary, how's Hunter going to identify? So Hunter dumps Yale, not because he's homophobic, but because he just likes girls. But anyhow, in this season 15 thing, Hunter and the Gamers Club actually decide to do something nice and create games and all that and help Degrassi out with a club. Unfortunately, though, the feminists, including Goldie and Maya, actually get involved in it and basically said that it's kind of sexist and all that. But Hunter tries to explain that the graphics designer screwed up and, it doesn't represent anything. It's just a monster game. And they say it's like shooting female monsters, and that's not great and all that. So the feminists get Hunter's gaming club shut down, and Hunter is upset, especially with Maya interfering with things. So Hunter decides to bring a gun to the dance and get Maya for what she did to screw him over. Although it was partially Goldie's fault too, but Goldie knew that Maya wanted to make Maya the mouthpiece. So anyway, Hunter goes after Maya, but thank goodness for Miles, he cuts Hunter off and Hunter is stopped. Simpson even tells Hunter that bringing a gun to the school is not the answer because of what happened to Rick Murray. So Hunter is suspended for a while, and then put into a mental facility to try to fix his problems. Yale visits him, and Hunter, after a few weeks, comes back. A lot of people were shocked that Hunter came back, but my only theory on why Hunter wasn't expelled was because of the family connection. Thankfully for Hunter, his dad was the mayor, and Simpson obviously was worried that if he bumped heads with the mayor, then the mayor would probably strip Degrassi of stuff, and Simpson would probably have lost his job. So Simpson was basically kneeling down towards Hollingsworth. I know there's other words to say it, but obviously I'm not going to say it in this context. All right, and number 14 on the list was from the season 1 winner, Jagged Little Pill. That was I kind of liked it. It does make sense. It won season 1. So anyway, Jagged Little Pill was about Ashley having throwing a party, and inviting Jimmy and her confidants, Paige's clique. Meanwhile, Toby and JT sneak into the thing because they want to be in a cool place. Ashley, for some reason, decides to take ecstasy to try to get closer to Jimmy, and she basically falls off the rails in a sense. It comes very terrible, and everyone avoids Ashley. Season 2, Ashley tries to get back everybody, but she just can't. It comes down to the fact that it's possible that it is Paige's fault too, because Paige used her Queen Bee stuff and basically told Hazel and Terry, if you have to choose one or the other, which will it be, me or Ashley? Sadly, though, Ashley loses both Hazel and Terry, who basically want to hang on with Paige's clique. And Ashley's upset. She decides to turn golf and go with Ellie, and Ashley was just upset that Jimmy wanted the old Ashley back, and that's when Ashley started getting mood swings, and that's why people kind of hate on Ashley. At least she's not the most triggered character in the Degrassi universe, and that does reference a video I made about the top 10 most triggered Degrassi characters. So there's that. Okay, so at number 13 is Zoe's rape. Like I said when I said about Hunter, the ironic part is that the number of it on the list is the number of the season. So basically, number 13 is from season 13. That's Zoe's rape trial. Now, Zoe had a big issue. She basically cyber shamed and slut shamed. So Maya makes a song about Zoe. Zoe's parents become so upset they cause the school to suspend Maya, and Maya gets no help from everybody, saying that it's just a stupid song. Simpson puts her in the remedial room. Kind of stupid. I think Simpson was basically bound down to Zoe's mother. Idiots. So anyhow, Zoe seemed to be powerful, so she goes to a party at Hunter's place, and unfortunately 2 boys, one of them Luke Baker, that's Becky's brother, well, one of them is Luke, and they both sexually assault her. She feels ashamed of herself, but then she decides to stand up to Luke and get him charged with stuff. So she goes through her rape trial. Unfortunately for Maya, at the trial, they talk about how Miles and Zoe was, and Maya overreacted to Miles being with Zoe, especially with the fact that Zoe had slut shamed her and got away with it. That Maya decides to break up with Miles once and for all. However, Zoe is not sure about the trial and all that. What's even worse about the Zoe rape trial is it wasn't completely about Zoe. It was about Becky, who's pressured by her parents to lie and, protect Luke. Luke even says that when he talks to Becky, when he gets a moment to talk to Becky, saying that, I took it. You lost our grandmother's ring down the sink when we were little kids, and I took the fall for you. However, Becky said, no, yes, but I did go the next day and confess my guilt because I just couldn't. I mean, as Christians, you got to confess your guilt. And then basically Luke answers a few questions from Becky, and Becky's like, wait a minute, Luke did do this. So she's conflicted. She's either going to have to tell the truth and maybe have her family shun her, or basically lie, feel guilty about herself, and help Luke out. But Becky decides to be honest. Well, she misses her first chance to testify and almost gets in trouble, but she basically is a little nervous. She does tell the truth. She does do her stuff. And Luke and the other boy goes through juvenile for 2 years. However, her parents, Becky's parents, basically shun her. Like, they'll still be with her, but she feels that her parents don't want to be around her. She blasts Luke when she sees him in jail in season 14. Luke tries to repent, and Becky says, yeah, but you're ruining my life. Nobody wants to give a crap about me. And there's a lot to say about why the Bakers would ask Becky to lie. I mean, that's hypocritical of Christianity. But there's also the fact that it may not be religious. It's because, Luke's the prodigal son. After all, the family moved from Florida to Toronto so that Luke could play for the Ice Hounds, the same hockey team in season 12 that Cam played for. So, yeah, maybe it's just favoritism. And it was hoping that, Becky would realize that if the roles were reversed, that Luke would protect Becky. Yeah, but it's not a two-way street. It's a one-way street. Sorry, it's a two-way street. All right, so at number 12 is the bus crash from season 16 / Next Class season 2. So I was actually shocked that Frankie's racism plot wasn't number 1 because, it was just the story of season 16. However, things change. So anyway, it does connect to Frankie's racism thing. Like I said about Frankie and the racist plot in the last video, about the fact that Frankie was allowed to come back on the volleyball team after finally apologizing and taking off her rose-colored glasses to deal with racism. But it was almost basically just so that Degrassi had a chance to beat Northern Tech in the final game. So they're playing Northern Tech. At the same time, there's a bus full of boosters like, Tristan, Maya, and a host of other people. And they go to the game, but they don't make the game. Despite the fact Degrassi won a title, which was nice. The fact of the matter was that, people were shocked. It's like, where's our booster suit? But then someone tells them about the news on the TV and shows a tablet and a bus crash, and it looked like a Degrassi bus, and everyone was shocked about it. Season 3 started off, Next Class season 3 started off with the bus crash aftermath, and Tristan being in a coma, and a lot of people cheering because Tristan was a douchebag character, and Maya goes through her depression yet again, and then decides to kill herself. But thankfully, though, Maya fails miserably. And all that. Oh, yeah, and Maya's depression will be in the top 10. But we're not done the top 10. We're not in the top 10 yet. So hang on a minute. And finally, in this video, number 11 is Vegas Night from season 10. The season 10 winner, which I kind of expected. So season 10 starts off with Simpson being the new principal as Hansel Ackles goes back to Regina once and for all and gives Simpson the keys to the school, if you will. So Simpson becomes a more lenient principal, if you will. Unfortunately, his leniency comes into question, especially after Riley hazes Drew and all that. And Drew's mom, Mrs. Torres, basically raises a big stink. She's part of the school board, which is the worst part. And, she would say that no, she won't let anyone touch Drew, saying that Drew is the perfect child and all that. Before Drew finally got into her freaking head. So facing school board pressure from Mrs. Torres, who basically says that Degrassi will make mistakes, but maybe it's with someone else at the helm. Snake assures her that everything will be fine, but then the students put on Vegas Night. It doesn't seem like a good theme, but they assure her that everything will be precaution. We'll take precaution. Unfortunately, though, it turns out to be a freaking disaster. Fitz wants to hurt Eli for being near Claire, and that gets Fitz put into juvie and all that. Allie decides to sneak up to the boiler room with Drew, and Bianca gets involved somehow. And then you got Sav and Holly J, the two leaders of the student council. Sav is president, and Holly J is his right hand woman. They basically decide to sneak off and do a striptease and all of that. The school is put into disarray. Simpson is told that basically, what are you going to do about this? And Simpson said there will be changes in the winter break. So the winter break happens, and then he puts uniforms on everyone, key cards, the works, security, and basically just throwing extracurriculars out that Degrassi's going to have to learn and all that. It does kind of ruin Jenna's X-Teen Star thing because Jenna was not allowed to tape anything about her life because of her draconian principle. And that basically lost some sympathy votes. Regardless of that, everyone was upset. And so Shantae decides to put post-it notes on Simpson's car, and he's a little bit surprised. However, Simpson does talk to Shantae, and they both agree that the better Degrassi does with things going forward, the more stuff that will come back. So extracurriculars will come back, and then maybe a dance, maybe something else, and all that. So Simpson basically does come to that. It takes till season 12 for the uniforms to be over, but I think season 10 and 11 was the same school year. So yeah, but it just goes like that. And then, there was a lot of fallout. I mean, Allie was ashamed and gone to another school because of Mrs. Torres's interference, and that's when Allie ran away because her parents didn't believe her side of things. Sav and Holly J still were together. I think Claire got in trouble somehow, even though that she shouldn't have. And basically, Simpson had backlash against him because he's punishing the school for a few incidents. But basically, he was on thin ice. He had to react. And I think the school board put him up to it. And Simpson probably didn't want to do it. But I think Simpson had to save his job. Kind of bullshit in a sense, but, that's Snake. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. There will be the top 10 video. However, I will be making a video of the storylines that didn't make the top 50, like what I think should have been in the top 50. The best of the rest. So anyway, thanks for watching and have a good day.